You know, I want to, you may have noticed in a quick flash by of the trailer to Dark Money, a farmer with a beat-up hat saying the people want to be represented. They don't want us representing the big corporations and the money. And that was a great Montana farmer and the U.S. Senator, John Tester. So he's in the film. And we at American Promise, for many reasons, are so proud to make him one of our Congressional Leadership Awards. As you know, we do 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. Senator John Tester's a Democrat. And Wyoming and Montana are really illustrating the sort of Mountain West unity on this, as we saw Senator Al Simpson before. And this Dark Money movie is very current, but this fight goes back 100 years in Montana to the 1912 Corrupt Practices Act, when the people of Montana took back their state democracy from the mining corporations that completely controlled it and prohibited corporate money in elections. That law stood for 100 years until the Citizens United decision. Steve Bullock, the Attorney General at the time, said, this can't possibly mean that our state laws that have made our democracy function. In Montana, you could run for the State House or the State Senate. Average cost of a campaign was $17,000, 17, because they did a good job with campaign finance laws. And Steve Bullock, the AG, now governor, said, well, you know, the First Amendment hasn't changed. And so I don't understand what they think in Washington. But he defended that law right to the Supreme Court. The Montana Supreme Court upheld the law, said, you're right, we need these laws so that democracy can function. The U.S. Supreme Court summarily reversed the decision, struck down laws across the country in the states trying to keep this money problem under control. So the Montana people didn't give up. One of those people is Jim Nelson, Supreme Court Justice on the Montana Supreme Court. He left the court and joined our board to help us win the constitutional amendment to overturn that decision. But Montana people like Jim, Justice Nelson, stepped up all over the place. And Senator John Tester was one of them, but there were 40,000 people in Montana who within weeks of that decision from the Supreme Court signed an initiative petition to put it on the ballot that Montana stood for the 28th Amendment and would instruct their representatives to go back to Washington and get this amendment out through Congress. So we want to award Senator Tester this award because that ballot initiative won overwhelmingly. 75% of the people of Montana voted yes on that and demonstrated the cross-partisan support again. The architect of that ballot initiative is here today, C.B. Pearson. And look, he's right down here. And we're really proud, although Senator Tester can't be here, C.B. Pearson is here from Missoula, Montana, to come on up and accept this award and bring it back to the good people of Montana and Senator Tester. C.B., come on up here. Good to see you. And so come on over here and we'll give this award. Presented to Senator John Tester, Montana, Courage for the Common Good and the 28th Amendment. C.B. Pearson, thank you for accepting this award on his behalf.
Thank you. I just want to say some brief remarks. Can you hear me? Sorry, great. It's true that until 1912, the Anaconda Mining Company controlled Montana. They controlled our politics. A coalition of conservatives and progressives came together through the initiative process and banned corporate contributions. Interestingly enough, Romney was part of that effort, a descendant of Mitt Romney in Montana. Montana was a unique place where politics are accessible. We have some of the strongest campaign finance laws in the country. Citizens United is not just one affront to that, but it undermines our ability to pass the laws for our state. We're the only state in the union that has a PAC limit law. That's under threat by Jim Bob, who led the Citizens United legal challenge. Our Senator Tester is a leader for us, of the people of Montana, Republicans, Democrats, Independents. He fights for us every day on this issue. We're proud of his leadership, his openness, his commitment to transparency. And the one thing that's fun that Jeff mentioned, he's the only farmer, organic farmer, in the Senate. One last pitch. Sorry, Jeff. See Dark Money. It is both a disturbing but hopeful film at the same time, and it's going to be across the U.S. beginning in July. So
Great.
see it.
Thank you. You take it right now.
Thank you for the honor, and thank you for inviting me to share a few words with you today. I want to recognize one of my personal heroes, Senator Simpson, another senator that I respect very, very much, Senator John McCain, and my colleague, Senator Tom Udall, for leading the hard fight for campaign finance reform. I am truly humbled to be among them. Ever since the Supreme Court ruled in Citizens United, more and more dark money has been flowing into our elections. We see political ads on TV and we have no idea who's paying for them. And special interests are paying millions of dollars to influence our democracy for their benefit specifically. That has to change, and it has to change now. In my home state of Montana, we expect real people, not out-of-state corporations, to decide our elections. That's why Montanans voted in 1912, over 100 years ago, to keep corporate influence and corruption out of our politics. We put a law on the books to forbid corporate political spending for or against our candidates. The frontier state of Montana was decades ahead of the rest of the country. Unfortunately, Citizens United overturned that important ban and set us on a dangerous precedent. That's why it is time that we get special interest money out of our elections and say once and for all, we the people, not big money, not unions, not corporations, but we the people govern the United States. Which is why I teamed up with Senator Udall on our constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United and declare that corporations aren't people. It's why I support the Disclose Act to bring more transparency to our campaign finance system. And it's why Congress must require U.S. senators to file their campaign finance reports electronically. Reforming our campaign finance system is one of the most important issues Congress must tackle because our democracy is at stake. And we've got a lot of work to do. To everyone in this room, thank you for helping us lead the fight. I encourage you to keep talking to your neighbors, keep calling your elected representatives, and keep fighting back against dark money interests that want to put their thumb on the scales of our democracy. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in the good fight ahead.